Disclaimer, this video is not legal advice. And in this video, all I will be doing is explaining what the law is. I will not be taking a stand on any issues. And with that said, let's talk about the interesting group representation constituency system in Singapore law. In our last video, we talked about the law behind parliamentary elections in Singapore, as well as how these elections are just the principles of separation of powers and democracy in action. But in this video, we'll not be talking about big ideas as much. Instead, we'll focus on one unique feature of general elections in Singapore, the Group Representation Constituency or GRC scheme. So you might remember from our last video that in Singapore, the legislature is constitutional level significant. That's part 6 of the Constitution. You might also remember that throughout part 6 of the Constitution, the word elected appears quite a few times. This indicates that parliamentary elections themselves are constitutional level significant. Now, parliamentary elections usually involve various candidates contesting a single seat in parliament. The voters of one particular area of the map, or a constituency, will then cast their votes for a single candidate. That's simple enough. But move down part 6 a bit, and you'll see Article 39A, titled Group Representation Constituencies. Why is it called that? Well, if you look under subsection 1A of the article, you'll see that certain areas of Singapore may be declared as group representation constituencies. And in those special areas, instead of electing just one candidate, you would cast your vote for a group of 3 to 6 candidates. Now, it's worth mentioning that Article 39A wasn't in the original Singapore Constitution. It was actually added by a constitutional amendment in 1988, 23 years after Singapore's independence. And in Singapore, most constitutional amendments can be made if 2/3 of the members of parliament support the amendment. That's Article 5, subsection 2 of the Constitution. So back to the GRC scheme. Why was it added? Well, in this case, the answer to the question is written straight into the Constitution itself, under subsection 1 of Article 39A. It states that the GRC scheme is made to ensure the representation in Parliament of members from the Malay, Indian, and other minority communities. For context, people of the Chinese race make up the majority of Singapore society. How does Article 39A achieve that goal? Well, we finally set our eyes on subsection 2A of the article, which effectively requires every GRC to have at least one candidate from a minority race. So that's how the GRC system works in its entirety. It makes voters cast their vote for groups of candidates, among which at least one candidate must be a member of a minority race. And with that said, that's all we'll be talking about in today's video. I really hope it was helpful for your understanding. In our next video, we'll be talking about the unique features of the Parliament of Singapore itself. We'll be talking about the 2 types of non-elected members of Parliament. Until then, thank you so much for watching, and please take care of yourselves.